and we are going to head over to Farah for the brand new Wild Night Talk Show.
Oh my gosh, does this not look super cool?
I love seeing you over there. I know,
Hey.
can people see that we're in the same room? You're just, you know, 30 feet away over there, so, or 50 somewhere. I'm not good at math.
I'm
but,
not good at that measurement
But
either.
yeah, there you are. There we go.
Hello.
See, there you are up there on the
Yes.
stage. I love, what a cool set
This
that
is a great setup. Fremont Studios definitely using their space. Awesome here. And we do have the Paws Wild Night talk show set, so things are looking really cool here. And we want to introduce you to someone who is so intricate to the work here that Paws does. So if we could get to the stage, the incredible Dr. Nikki Rosenhagen. She is the lead veterinarian for the wildlife efforts for Paws. So we're going to bring her on up here. She came ready in her scrubs just in case, because we never know when duty calls. Nikki, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah,
how are you doing?
Great, great. It's
Awesome. Yes, so Paws Wildlife, such a huge part of what Paws does. Recently, I know a lot of us have seen, you know, the haze in the air from the wildfires in Washington State. That also impacted wildlife incredibly. So 3 orphaned bear cubs recently getting some help from Paws Wildlife. Could you tell us what happened there?
Yeah, so as you said, we have 3 cubs in care. In July, we admitted a cub from the Cedar Creek fire, and she had pretty extensive burns to her face, ears, and feet. And then in August, we actually had 2 cubs come in from the same area, the 25-mile fires, and we thought that they might be siblings. And so these bears have been in care with us, and I think we have a photo
Yes, we have a few photos to share, and we'd love for you to tell us about the process, what we're seeing too.
Yeah, so in this first photo, this is the bear, this is the Cedar Creek bear, and this is the first time she was under anesthesia. It had been several days between when she was found, or when she was injured and when she came to Paws, and so a lot of dead tissue scabbing that was building up. And so in this image, you can see we haven't done any wound management yet. We have bandages on her feet to try and rehydrate them before we do that procedure. She had a lot of swelling to the right side of her face, and actually we weren't even sure if her right eye was intact. And so waiting for weeks to see could she even see out of that eye.
All right. And when people look at a photo like this, they're probably feeling some of that compassion, that pain that you know that bear cub is going through.
Yeah.
So what sorts of things did this particular cub and the others have to go through in order to get better from those injuries?
All 3 of the cubs, so for a couple of weeks, every day they received pain management and anti-inflammatories, as well as antibiotics in order to make sure that they didn't develop secondary infections.
Okay.
And fortunately, in spite of their injuries, the bears maintained their appetite because we had to medicate them in food items because we're very hands-off. We need to maintain their wild nature. And so I don't think we missed a single dose. So they were very, very good patients. And in addition to the medications, they underwent the wound management under anesthesia every 2 to 4 days, kind of depending on when they're healing. So we have a series of photos here to show as well.
Yes, we'd love to see those.
Yeah, so in this first photo, this is that same bear after we've removed a lot of that tissue from her face, that dead scabbed tissue, and using some flush in order to clear the contaminants from that area as well. And then in the second photo, there is, this is us bandaging her feet. So all 3 of these cubs had all of their paws bandaged for 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the severity of the injuries. And this was just in order to maintain contact with the medicated ointments and the bandages, as well as just keep the tissue clean and protected.
Incredible that you have paws and legs wrapped up, because if any of us have a cat or a dog, we know sometimes they don't do so great with that, but these bears were pretty tolerant of it.
They were pretty tolerant. The pair of siblings, the boys at the end, they didn't put up with it for too long. They were good for a little while, but actually, we have one more photo of the last.
Kind of an additional need for repairs on the injuries.
So the little girl who had wounds to her, she had burns to her face and ears. She actually had to wear that head bandage in order to keep her ears protected. And then because she had those significant burn injuries to her face, there was no way for us to wrap it. So we actually took, it's an impregnated bandage, and sutured it to her face.
Okay, wow.
I know, and you would think that she wouldn't tolerate that again, just like cats and dogs, but she had a very one-track mind. So as soon as we got food in her enclosure, she focused on that and left her bandages alone. Great. So a really good patient.
And looking at all the photos, the process and everything like that, how are they doing now?
They're doing really well. All the bandages are off, the medications are finished. Yeah, and actually, just about a week and a half ago, we were able to reunite the 2 brothers. So, as we said, we weren't entirely sure that they were brothers. We do a lot of introducing bears to each other because we have lots of cubs every year, and often it takes days or a couple of weeks for them to kind of warm up to each other, but we opened the doors, these guys went in, and they clearly recognized each other.
That's amazing.
Interacting right away.
You do have a great photo to kind of depict that connection. We'd love to show everyone that right now.
So this is our cubs in a tub photo. So this is these guys sleeping together, and this is just, I think, a couple of days. They were sleeping together the night that they got back together. So I think really rewarding for our staff to see this, and wonderful for these guys. Reduces their stress level.
Absolutely.
They're much more comfortable in care now
Being
together.
back with their family. That's wonderful that you were able to do that. What's next for those siblings and the third cub?
So all of the bears will stay with us through the winter.
Okay.
We like to put them through a hibernation period if we can. It's natural for them. It's important for their normal development. And so as long as they stay healthy, we'll do that. And then when they wake up in the spring, it's just packing on the pounds, make sure they're nice and healthy. We provide a lot of natural foods and enrichment, lots of logs and leaves and things like that where they would naturally look for
Natural
food.
habitat.
Yeah, and then they spend a lot of time wrestling, which is building life skills, right? That we want them to be successful in the wild.
Absolutely.
And so these are all really important skills for them to build, hopefully to go home next spring.
Nikki, an incredible rescue story here with the bears. Other animals are also a part of these wildlife rescues. Are there any others that just come to mind that have been, you know, just heartwarming to you and incredible to see happen?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have 6 bald eagles in care right now that are still undergoing care before they get released. Baby bobcats, harbor seals, hummingbirds, all kinds of things. So the donations go to help all of these animals and more.
Absolutely. Everyone watching right now, your money is going to help continue helping cases like the 3 orphaned bears and all the other animals that Dr. Nikki Rosenhagen has also mentioned. Thank you for all your hard work in the team.
Yes.
Just hats off to you guys for what you're doing.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. So one of the coolest things about Paws is Paws Cat City, an incredible place right here in Seattle that a lot of you may be familiar with. But if you're not, or you just want some more Cat City, we sent one of my wonderful coworkers, who you remember from last year's Wild Night, Amity Andrissi, out there to Paws Cat City to give us an inside look.
Hi, I'm Amity Andrissi, host of New Day Northwest on King 5, and I'm here at Paws Cat City. Now, I am a self-proclaimed crazy cat lady, so there is nowhere else I'd rather be than Paws Cat City. Paws has 2 cat adoption centers. All cats begin their journey at Paws Linwood headquarters, where staff veterinarians take care of any medical needs. Many cats then head here to Paws Cat City in Seattle's University District. This popular center has open colony rooms so cats can relax in a home-like setting. In fact, it looks like we have a transport unloading right meow. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Let's go check it out. Y'all, this is Rebecca Ortel. She is the manager of Paws Cat City. She gets to be with cats all day. I'm so jealous.
Hi, Amity.
I'm so glad that you're letting us come and check out the facility. Why is this place so special?
So come on with me and I'll show you.
All right.
As you can see, our colonies have an open setting so that cats can really express their natural behaviors. Whether it's climbing and perching, whether it's playing, as you see they're going here. They have lots of places where they can tuck, lounge, nap, and really show off who they are. And in addition, then our adopters get the opportunity to really spend time with them in that setting and figure out who is the best match for them.
I mean, that's gotta be the hardest part because a lot of these cats have shelter stress, right? What is that and how do you work with it?
Cats can experience fear, anxiety, and especially frustration. Back in 2018, we began 4 months of intensive work with the Jackson Galaxy Project.
Oh, he's so cool.
He developed a really cool program that uses clicker training to encourage cats to engage with adopters. It engages all of their natural behaviors, it builds their confidence, and they really get to have choice in the process because in the shelter, cats' choices are so limited, right? They don't know what's coming, when to expect it, what the schedule is. With that program, they really get to experience all of those things. Suddenly everything becomes predictable. That reduces that stress.
I cannot even imagine how many cats you've helped.
Since we began that program here at Cat City, we have placed over 4,700 cats and kittens in permanent homes.
Oh, that's so wonderful. You guys are really amazing. What about, any cats that you saw bloom recently? Like any examples that you have to share?
You know, my favorite one is actually one of the very first cases we worked with, and she's typical of a lot of cases we've seen since. Her name was Missy. When Missy came into our shelter, she was really scared and intimidated, and she was just hunkered down hiding in her litter box. I kid you not, within 2 sessions, that first day of working with the program, we were able to move her from that litter box into a Heidi bin.
Wow.
And by the second day of the program, she was actually flirting and rolling over and really engaging with our people. Still very shy, but all of a sudden she was showing off this cute personality of who she could be. It took us about 2 weeks to get her ready. I will tell you what, she really didn't experience any backsteps, and the second day she was down here, she found an amazing home. You know what, Amity? We've got some wonderful adopters visiting here. Why don't we go on in and have a conversation?
Oh, absolutely. Well, hello, ladies. What brings you to Paws Cat City today?
We heard that this is like the place to go to get to know a cat before you adopt. So we just wanted to come and hang out and see if it's a good mix. And it's really amazing.
I think he does. How's the experience been so far?
It's awesome. We get to see their different personalities. So that's what I really appreciate about these little colonies.
I'm not sure about you, but I think this one's fallen in love with you.
That's Pluto, yeah.
Yes.
So sweet.
And this one's kind of eyeballing me too.
He took a little bit of time to get to know us, but he's opened up a little bit.
Yeah.
It is the community support that makes this possible, and if it weren't for those who foster, adopt, and donate, these cats wouldn't have the future that they do that is just so perfect. Thanks to Cat City for having us. Back to you, Farah.
Amity, thank you so much for that awesome look at Paws Cat City. I am now very excited to welcome Jackson Galaxy, which I think you kind of need no introduction, so we're going to leave it at that, Jackson, because you are such a big name around the world, but definitely here in Seattle, and we're so excited to have you here tonight for Wild Night. You have actually gone to Paws Cat City quite a few times. Tell us about those experiences when you're there.
And I'm not exaggerating. First of all, I'm just very stoked to be here tonight. I went to Cat City and immediately fell in love. They embrace all of the things that I really try to advocate for when it comes to the well-being of cats while they're waiting to be adopted. These guys just went for it in every sense of the word, from environmental enrichment to working with clicker training through the Cat Positive program. When they do something there, they do it with gusto, and that's what I want to see.
And speaking of the Cat Positive program, it's so unique, and it's really, I think, just so animal forward. When you watch some of the things that happen with a cat as they make that transformation, tell us more about that program and why you think it's just so important for people to know more about it and to perhaps, look into it for themselves, for their cats.
Well, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, first of all, from a shelter perspective, from a rescue perspective, cats just don't get to be cats very often. And they are also coming in with whatever degree of trauma, whether they came in off the street, whether they were surrendered from a home, whether we don't know what their past was. Once they come into Cat City or to the other Paws facility, it's starting from square one with some trauma. So having an interactive way to work with cats, i.e. clicker training, getting them to do silly little tricks like a high five or a sit or just touching their nose to something or walking around an agility course, it just keeps mind and body active, and it fosters new human positive associations, and that's really important. And I think one of the other elements of it when it comes to what people can do at home, somebody adopts a cat who's been through the Cat Positive program. Now they get home, continue the work. So that cat's confidence that's been built through that program continues in the new home. And it also, by the way, I think that the public perception of cats in general, that you can't train cats, they won't listen to you, they don't care. It proves that they do form these kinds of tight bonds that I think we usually just give to dogs for the most part.
A cat's bond is very special once you gain that trust. It's like no other relationship. I grew up with cats and definitely see their personalities come out once they feel more comfortable. Jackson, before we let you go, a couple fun cat questions for you. Do you have a favorite cat pun?
I'm a big fan of the cat's pajamas, only because the vision
Yes.
of cat's pajamas makes me laugh. And I have no idea. I mean, when you think about it, where did that come from?
Right.
But that's
It kind
for
of look
another
like
day.
pajamas all the time. My cat back home with my mama in the Midwest, her name's Augustine, and she's got the striped pajamas on watching us right now. So she would agree with
Oh,
you.
is that what it is?
Yeah, so the little striped pajamas that she has on. And one last one for you. If you could be a cat, would you be long-haired, short hair, specific coloring?
First of all, I think I'd go for the long hair because I've been missing hair for so long that just the idea of having hair that would just like flap in the wind, I think would be just a dream come true. And other than that, I think I'd love to be an orange tabby just because the reputation of just being out there for fun and playing all the time and, you know, just that personality that I've seen in so many orange tabby. So I'd be an orange tabby, long-haired cat.
Awesome. I love that so much. Jackson Galaxy, thank you for being with us for Wild Night. And to officially kick things off, we want to welcome Paws CEO Heidi Wills Yamada.
Hello, and welcome to Paws Wild Night, a benefit for animals. We're glad to have you join us for this special evening. As we begin our program, I want to thank you for your continued support of Paws. This year has been another one of change and challenges for all of us. But because of you and donors like you, we're continuing to provide essential services to animals and people in our community every single day. Tonight, I'd like to tell you about a few success stories made possible thanks to your generous support. After offering animal adoption services last year by phone, email, and by appointment, we were thrilled to open our doors this past summer. Members of the public are welcome to come into our shelter to view and adopt animals. It is a joy for us to see families in our facilities again and to be able to watch as beautiful dogs and cats find their forever homes. A few months ago, we received a special stray kitten. His story has been an inspiration to our staff and volunteers, and we hope you like it too. George came to Paws through one of our rescue partners. Once he was safely in our care, we got to work finding him a home. We connected with a family who had adopted other special needs cats from Paws, and they warmly welcomed George into their lives. Today, George is surrounded by the love of his human family, where he also enjoys playing with their other blind cat, Juno. Sometimes animals come to Paws and they are ready for adoption, like George. But some animals come in need of extra time and care before they can find their forever family. Usually, senior dogs take some extra nurturing and TLC. Katie arrived at Paws earlier this year in poor condition, missing most of her fur and all of her teeth. She spent 4 months in a foster home healing until an adopter with a soft spot for senior animals saw her photo and embraced Katie's graying muzzle. Today, Katie is safe in a loving home with 2 other senior dogs. Her adopter says that Katie's sweet temperament shows that no matter what trauma some companion animals may have experienced, their unconditional love for us remains. It can be especially hard on a senior animal when they lose their home. Katie was alone and scared when she came to Paws, but now she's enjoying a happy retirement.
Look at you, good girl.
On behalf of George, Katie, and all the animals you've helped save, thank you. At Paws, we don't just provide life-saving care for cats, dogs, and wild animals. We also offer educational programs for youth designed to inspire compassion and respect for all animals. For the past year, we've continued teaching our well-received Kids Who Care program remotely over Zoom. This school year, we're excited to be driving to schools, getting back inside classrooms to teach 4th graders about taking compassionate action for animals. And if you ask the teachers, they're excited too.
And it has been the most positive, enlightening, just joyous event of the entire school year. The kids absolutely love when Paws comes into the classroom to teach them about the things that they love most, which is animals.
I love having Paws in my classroom. The kids are so excited to see Miss Katie or Miss Bailey come by each week and teach them how to be responsible pet owners. Thank you, Paws. You guys are awesome.
These educational programs are an integral part of our vision for a world where young people recognize the intrinsic value of animals and demonstrate compassion and respect for them. Our efforts to create a better world for animals and for people have never been more critical. Calls from the public to our Wildlife Center have increased dramatically, and this year we've received a staggering number of animals that have been injured or orphaned from extreme weather events that our region is experiencing with greater frequency and intensity. In care right now, we have 3 black baby bears that were severely burned in the wildfires in eastern Washington. One cub was temporarily blinded by her injuries, and another had to crawl on his elbows because of the painful burns on his paws. People and property are devastated by wildfires, and wild animals and their habitats are harmed too. But because of people like you, there's hope. Your support of Paws is life-saving. 3 baby bears are receiving expert medical care so that they have a chance to heal and return to the wild, thanks to you and the generous support of our community. And with your help, we can continue to provide life-saving care for animals in need. We're glad to have you here tonight to help make a positive difference for cats, dogs, and wildlife. Beautiful animals like George and Katie and the wildlife bear cubs, whose lives have been saved by your generous support. Thank you for sharing your compassion and your commitment with Paws. We hope you enjoy the show. Every animal that comes to Paws has a story. This next video tells just one of the thousands of stories we see every year in our shelter. Take a look.
Spaying and neutering is the only solution to overpopulation by stopping those litters from being born. At Paws, we spay and neuter every animal before they get adopted, and that's making a huge difference to stop overpopulation in our community.
but what a great night.
Oh, amazing. And thanks to Farah Jadran from King 5 for spending her evening here with us. We're so fortunate to have her giving her time and her talent to Paws. And on behalf of all of us at Paws, thank you to Farah for leading us through this evening with grace, beauty, and good humor. And before we go, I'd like to send a special thank you to some of the people who couldn't be here with me, Fred, and Farah tonight. The dedicated staff, board members, and volunteers who work so hard for Paws every day. The people who procured and donated items for tonight's auction, and the fantastic events team at Paws who made this entire event possible. Thank you.
Yes, and this just in so far tonight, and of course this number is continuing to grow because we're watching your donations keep coming in, but so far you with us right now live have raised $322,000, and that number continues to go up, $322,000 and going up, so keep it coming, and thank you.
Wow, what wonderful and generous supporters we have. Thank you so much for caring about the animals at Paws and helping us in our mission to be there for them when they're in need. And thank you, Fred, for being our wonderful auctioneer again this year. You're fantastic to work with.
Love Paws and love supporting the animals. So thank you so much. I really love the animals. It is truly my honor to be here. My name is Fred Northup Jr. alongside Heidi Wills Yamada. On behalf of all the animals that you helped tonight, thank you. And we hope to see you in person next year.